Welcome to Track Limits and Emotional Damage. This is your race recap for the Chinese Grand Prix. Before we jump into it, some news coming out of the F1 world. It looks like we have officially confirmed that Bahrain and Saudi have both been canceled. So it looks like we won't have any racing in. So that should be interesting. I'm sure that that's very fluid and that as it changes, we'll know more. But obviously, with everything going on, they've felt that it's better to cancel those races for the moment. Well, an eventful weekend. China, first sprint of the season. What did you think of everything?
I mean, I think any rumors about Mercedes sandbagging might be a little true.
Yeah,
Dang. I mean, it was a good race for sure. And then the whole back and forth between the Ferraris was crazy. It just felt like they were like wasting time, one-upping each other than trying to catch the Mercedes team because I definitely think they could keep up with Mercedes. I don't know. What do you think?
yeah. I mean, it's definitely shaping out to something that we've already talked about. We're obviously seeing the Mercedes and the Ferraris are up front. Obviously the Ferraris still have a lot of pace that they need to unlock to, I think, be competitive with the Mercedes. I mean, those towards the end of the race. I mean, I think it went from like a couple seconds to almost a 12-second, 15-second difference between Russell in second and Lewis
Mm-hmm.
Hamilton in third. So I do think that the Ferraris have. It's really good to see them more competitive this year, especially over the last year that they've had, especially with Lewis Hamilton finally getting on the podium. Really good to see, as well as really congrats to Kimi Antonelli for being the youngest driver to take a podium as well. So some
Mm-hmm.
really cool things happening today across the board. But I do think that Ferrari is only going to be competing with themselves unless they can unlock more pace to be competitive with Mercedes. Otherwise, I think we're just going to see fairly similar to a few seasons ago where Red Bull was just dominant and ahead of everybody. So I think we'll just see Mercedes finishing kind of in a space of their own where everyone else is behind. And I will say that from the Ferraris to Ollie Bierman, there was another
Mm-hmm.
almost 22 seconds as well.
Yeah.
So obviously the Ferraris have a lot of pace, and Mercedes has even more pace. So we'll see how that all shakes up. It was
I think like it would have been interesting had the McLarens been out there because the McLarens were keeping pace with Mercedes really well during like the qualifying. I would have been curious to see how that would have ended up if they had gotten off the line, but they had issues clearly, which is a shame. I feel bad that Oscar he hasn't even participated in any of these Grand Prix really. I mean, he got to do the sprint, but you know, the actual races, he's not even been able to start them. So that's kind of a shame.
Yeah, that was definitely an interesting one to see. Both McLarens deciding not to go out or possibly doing a pit lane start after having a fairly solid weekend. Did well in the sprint quali, as well as did really pretty decent in just overall quali. So it was interesting to see them completely out of it, and
Hmm.
must have been something pretty crazy going on for them to not even bother running the cars.
Um, it was electrical.
Okay, that would make
So there
sense.
was electrical issues that they were both having with the same car. I mean, it was like the same type of electrical issues they were both having, which is a shame.
Which, yeah,
Fluke
yeah.
thing, I think.
Well, yeah. Rough start for Max Verstappen, but once again, I mean, another race where he started a bit farther back and seemed to make up quite a few grid spots. It does seem like the Red
Hmm.
Bull is obviously having issues getting seated around the turns, and it seems like they're just kind of all over the place. But I feel like it's interesting because when he is getting in when Max is getting into it, he is moving up the ranks. So
Hmm.
hopefully Red Bull can start to turn some things around to really get there. I know retiring the car was probably not the best for that
No.
team morale.
No. Do you think with the no races in April, do you think teams are gonna hit the engineering board and whatever they call it, I don't know what they call it, and try to fix some of these issues before the May races, or are they allowed to do a lot of changes like that?
I mean, if they have development time, I would say I wouldn't be surprised if we see a big jump because the first race back was probably going to be Miami.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'll have Japan coming up, and then Miami, and then we'll skip the races. We'll have Miami. So it'll be interesting to see if we see a little bit of pace unlocked in Miami. Now, the downside to bringing a bunch of upgrades is Miami is also a sprint race, I believe. So, you're not going to get a lot of time in practice to test them out. That's why
Mm.
it was really interesting to see Ferrari. Obviously, they brought the flippy wing, they tried it out, and then they ended up going back to their other spec of, obviously they think that it's got some good pace, and it's definitely got the right fit. But it was interesting to kind of waste what little practice you had on something that you weren't going to end up using. And maybe that was the data that they like, it's just not going to be feasible, at least at this race. So, not that it was a bad thing, but it was interesting that they did switch back to the older spec wing.
It was exciting to see the flippy wing, but it definitely wasn't having like the effect that they wanted. But like you said, maybe it's just the data they needed to make it better.
And it might be something where it's only specific tracks that wing style really suits itself. So we'll see. It's good to see Ferrari does have pace and is
Mm-hmm.
definitely going. I've really been happy to see the midfield too. Ollie
Mm-hmm.
Bierman getting coming in fifth. Pierre Gasly in sixth. Liam Lawson, Isaac Hadjar, Carlos Sainz.
Mm-hmm.
So a really good mix of the midfield, especially with McLaren not finishing the race. Obviously that jumbles it up quite a bit. But yeah, I was. I mean, I was so happy to see Ollie Bierman up so high. Obviously, he's
Mm-hmm.
on my fantasy team, so
Yeah, mine too.
uh, you know, definitely helped out this last week.
It was cool to see Haas do really good. I think they're kind of dialing in, and seeing them up at the top was really nice. And then yeah, that one spin out that they had, I don't know, I can't remember who it was between, but the two cars like simultaneously like flipped. That was pretty cool. Probably not for them, but it looked cool. I'm happy that both Cadillac crossed the finish line. I think that's a big win for them. I think obviously this year is a lot of just data gathering since it's kind of their first year back in, and so I was pretty happy. And they were, last, but whatever. Take it. Still something.
Yeah, I think that we'll start to see some pace come out of them. Seeing Haas obviously uses the Ferrari engine and buys a lot of parts from Ferrari. I think that those that haven't quite figured out how to maximize the Mercedes engine, McLaren,
Mm-hmm.
Alpine, and all of those teams, we might see Haas become more competitive because they're using that Ferrari engine that just already knows how to unlock that pace, versus trying to learn kind of the learning curve that seems to be going along with the Mercedes engine.
Who's running the Honda engine?
Honda is going to be Aston Martin,
Oh, Aston Martin.
which will be interesting because obviously Honda's home race is the Japanese Grand Prix, so that's going to be the next race. So it'll be interesting to see how they, hopefully, they have a good showing. Obviously, Aston Martin is just trying to get the cars out there to get some data so they can figure out where it's going on. But it's a bummer to see another race where they don't finish. They
Mm-hmm.
don't finish. And I will say, like, I think six cars total didn't finish the race, and
That's a lot.
there was no major accidents other than a few fender benders between I don't know if it was Gasly or Colapinto. There was some back and forth between the Haas and the Alpines through quite a bit of it. And I will say these regulations I do see the value in like the back and forth because the very beginning of the race, it was great seeing the, Hamilton jump out in the front and
Mm-hmm.
but I think long term pace that just was Mercedes. Like when they what was it when Kimi passed past him on the straight. I mean, it looked like they were a whole nother league. You know, it was crazy. It just flew by almost. You know, so
I mean, I definitely think that not having that many cars not finished because of technical issues shows just kind of what a wrench of the new regs are, and that it is going to take them a minute to kind of get it all sorted.
yeah, I agree. Well, do you wanna go over where we sit from the fantasy standpoint?
I haven't looked at mine yet.
Yeah, you did pretty good, I think.
I
Uh,
think, yeah, Max was the only one on my team who didn't finish, so
yeah.
I think I'll just put Hamilton on my team next time, you know.
I mean, if you
Seems
got
to
the
be a theme.
points,
I do. I have like 10 million to play with, so I think if I,
shit. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. If you have that much to,
yeah, Team Billy Smells. At least I'm in the triple digits now.
yeah,
You
you
know, I
had
made it
pretty good
up.
with the 2x on the Russell,
Uh-huh.
Lawson, and then Ollie. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Racing Bulls. Not too bad.
So,
Yeah, I was gonna say with that much money, I mean, you could probably unlock a fairly decent driver.
mm-hmm. That's what I was thinking. How about you?
Yeah, fairly decent. Um, Overall, like obviously, I have the 2x on Hamilton, and with
Mm-hmm.
George Russell doing really well. Ollie having such a strong race definitely helped me out. I will say that I was hoping for a little bit better showing for both Racing Bulls, but it's good to see at least one of them having putting up some
Mm-hmm.
decent points. I don't. Yeah, it seemed like Lindblad. I don't know if he got some damage or something earlier on that just gave him a hard time of staying ahead. So, but yeah, that was kind of where it's at. And then obviously with the two Ferraris coming in third, fourth, did pretty well. So
Very good.
yeah, overall pretty strong. I'm not probably, and to be honest, I'm not going to make any changes unless I maybe change out one of the Racing Bull drivers. But I'm kind of stuck in this like lineup for Japan.
That's a pretty solid lineup, though. I think it has been fun to see how well the Racing Bulls have been doing, I have to say. And then, yeah, the Ferraris just going on each other. It's been kind of fun to watch, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I was a little worried there because those two going back and forth, I didn't want them to crash into each other and then,
Yeah.
ruin any chance of finishing the race.
There was some moments I was like,
Right?
oh
So,
my gosh.
yeah.
But,
Well, I think that's it for this recap and all of the
hmm
great things. Tune into our next racing news in the middle of the week. We'll go over all things racing. So, yeah. All right.
thank you.